Yeah.
You were on page 170.
We're on page 191.
How'd you skip?
Hilchos
Skip
Peos
Halakha
Hazaken.
Upsharon. 177. What happened with that?
Okay, well, we'll do it. We didn't do it, we'll
I
do it.
mean,
We didn't do.
What?
You don't have any, you don't
Well, you know, you have
have
grandkids. don't
We'll do
you?
it, page 177. Hilchos, the last halach in Hilchos Peos
Some people
HaRosh.
don't hold by Upsharon.
This is again volume 1, page of the Tzurvim Rabbanon, page 177. Some have the custom to wait until a child is 3 years old before giving him a haircut and leaving the payos. It means to give him a haircut, but the payos are left. This custom, like we learned, that you have the payos harosh. Tonight, we're going to learn about the halachas of payos hazaken. The beard has corners as well. But remember, we learned about the payos harosh, where this area, sort of in front of the ear, machlokes, whether it's down to the ear lobe or to the middle part of the ear, i.e. the temporal bone, and it extended to above the ear. So this hair in front of the ear had to be left. So you see the Hasidic kids, they have their hair, a haircut, but the payas remained. So this custom is known as a chalaka, from the word chalak in Arabic, which means a haircut, or upsharon, which means cutting off in Yiddish. After the haircut, the father begins to teach his son Torah, as is mentioned in the Mishnah.
Midrash.
So there's a Midrash Tanchuma, Unitatem kol eitz ma'achal, you shall plant a fruit tree. Va'araltem orla so es prion. You should leave orla, that means the first 3 years of the tree, we don't eat the fruit. Medaber betinok, says the Medrash, this refers to a child, shalosh shonim yelach hamarelim. And that it says for 3 years, the basic, an orel, like remember, Moshe was aral sfasayim, he couldn't speak. So children also, they're for 3 years as if they can't speak. She'en yachol lo la'asiach v'lo l'daber. They can't carry out a conversation, they can't really speak. Uvashona haraviz yekol pirio. And in the 4th year, his fruit will be holy. She'aviv magdisha l'Torah. So in a sense, this is, you're going to start teaching the child Torah at the age of 3, because that's when he starts speaking, similar to Orla. Some of the minhag, to conduct the option on Lag BaOmer, for a few possible reasons. Some base it on the rationale, then since it is always falls close to the Shabbos, when the parshas of Kedoshim and Emor are read, which detail the prohibition of cutting the payos, it is appropriate to perform the option at that period of time in the year, as it is the first time that the parent left while receiving a haircut. Others base the custom on more mystical reasons. The custom is cited by Yeshari Tshuva, where he talks about the laws of shaving cholamoy. Let's see the Yeshari Tshuva. V'ayin began hamelach shekosav, umuter lahashois simchas hatiglachas. It's appropriate to delay the celebration of the first haircut, she'oisim lakotin k'dei lahargil hasimcha b'moed, to do it sometime by a yontif. Mitzvah nami ikebekach, ayin sham. And there's a mitzvah. V'ayin shel hasimcha hu minag Eretz Yisrael gamkein. It seems to be connected to Eretz Yisrael.
Why?
She'osim simcha b'galachas harishona shel kotin shemechanchen also b'mitzvahs lios lo peas harosh. So like it's like the first kind of mitzvah that a 3-year-old can perform by leaving his payas.
So he's asking why not to show?
Because that's what you do.
He
all
just
the
says it
time.
was a minig. He just says there happened to be a minig in Eretz Yisrael. Could be related maybe to the fact that Orla is shaykh, but we have a custom even chutz la'aretz in Orla. We don't eat the fruits of our tree. It could be it's only there's a machlokas whether it's deraisa, whether it's rabbanon, but the minig even where we are we don't eat we don't eat from the fruits of our trees for 3 years. But it could be machlokas midrabanan versus midaraisa. Hang on, so nobody mentioned like Bomer yet.
He just says Moed.
Lios lo pesarosh va'ayin shar sphere sa'oy Mr. Kosav be'inyan ha'holchim al kever Rashbi, right? Rav Shimon Bar Yochai for Elazar Reno b'Meiron be'Lag BaOmer shera'a et moro ha'arizal shahalach shal megalechas b'no b'mishna v'simcha b'yomim. So that's the Arizal is the first person who brought his son to the Rashbi's kever, and since then, last year I had the schus to Shimi Chaim, Yaakov's recent grandson. We did an option at not in Lag BaOmer, but at the Meiron. It was January. His son, my grandson.
You do it at the graveside?
We did it at the gravesite in Meiron. There was a room. They're all davening. There's a big minyan. You do it right. There's a room right next to it.
But that's only near Yisrael. You wouldn't do it over here.
No, this is Shimon.
No, this is by the kever of Shimon Ben
Right,
Yochai
but you
in
don't
Meiron.
do it here.
We did an upsharing
Here in
in Los Angeles, correct.
And at
I had an
Kever.
upsharing for Yaakov, I had an upsharing,
But where? At Kever?
no, in the home.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the upsharing one.
Well, the kever is in Meiron.
But no, only by Meron you do it, you don't do
No,
it.
you do, people make upsharings and wherever they live.
Minhag doing the best.
No, I'm talking about, they were talking about the
The
graveside.
Ari did it at the gravesite of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, right.
Page 191. In the previous years, we dealt with the prohibition of cutting the Peos HaRosh. In this year, we will continue discussing the other prohibition related to cutting one's facial hair, Peos HaZaken, cutting the Peos of the beard while shaving. So in Vayikra, Perek Chaf Aleph, it says, Lo yikrechu korcha brosham. Don't make your hair bald. Like, there's a din, you shouldn't shave your hair completely bald. Ufa'ad zekanam lo yigalechu. Don't shave the edge of their beards. Uviv saram lo yisutu sarated. And don't make a cut in the flesh. Like when they used to do that for mourning, they would flay themselves. Then Vayikra Yud Tes in Kedoshim, it says, Lo sakifu pa'as roshchem. Don't, that's the Peos HaRosh that we dealt with previously. And then it says, V'lo tashchis, don't destroy es pa'az zekanecha, the edges of your beard. Now, in referring to the Peos of the beard, this Zoken, the Torah in Parshas Emor, which was the first pasuk we read, used the word giluach, which refers to shaving. So, l'chora, that was relating to shaving the beard. While in Parshas Kedoshim, it uses the word hashchasa, an act of destruction. The Gemara derives from this that only shaving, because giluach is shaving, in a manner of like sort of a combined psukim. It's giluach that creates hashchasa. So when you use a straight razor, it is destroying, goes all the way down to the root. It's a very deep cut. So shaving with a razor, that's prohibited. It says the Mishnah in Masechta Makos, hakorech korcha b'rosho, if you make yourself bald, v'amekiv pas rosho, or you cut off the corners of your payas, and v'amashkis pas gono, you destroy your beard, chayiv. Ve'eno chayiv ad sheyitlano b'tar. You're only chayiv if you use a razor. Says the other Mishnah in Masechta Makos, ve'eno chayiv ad sheyitlano b'tar. Ton rabbanon, upa'az kanam lo yigalechu, don't cut the corners of your beard. Yachol afilu gilchu b'misparayim yechayiv. What if you use scissors? Talmud lomer lo sashchis. Scissors does not create hashchasa. So l'chora, scissors would be okay. I lo sashchis, yachol im liktu b'malaket v'hitni yechayiv. So does that mean that if you used, they say tweezers, or what sort of a plane, like when a carpenter uses some kind of flat plane, are you chayiv for that? Talmud lomer lo yigalechu. Haketzad. Only a razor is prohibited when it comes to the beard. However, the Rivan, who's a Rishon, explains that shaving is defined as cutting one's beard using an implement that is usually used for shaving. That's the definition of giluah. So it means cutting your beard with an instrument that you normally use for that. While destroying is when one removes the entire hair to its root without leaving any stubble at all. So it's sort of a definition of how much hair you're leaving. Let's see what the Rivan says. Talmud loymar lo sashchi, ubemisparayim, scissors ein mashchisin. So they're not a destruction. So technically, you could use scissors. She'ein chotchin seir b'tzad iker ketar. They don't really cut the hair down to the root like a blade does. So what's a giluach sheyesh bo haschasa? Derech legalech bo means in a manner of shaving, umashchis, and destroying, v'ainu tar. Aval rehitni, which is some kind of flat plane, mashchis, but you don't normally use that to shave with. So remember, you need both aspects. You need an instrument that you normally use to shave, and you need a hashchasa. So a rehitni will be mashchis, but it's not a normal implement.
What? Whatever this is.
It's like a plane. A plane is like when you flat.
I know what it is.
Yeah. And then a mispamayim, megalchim, very mashchisin. People do shave with a scissor. People cut their beard with a scissor. But it doesn't destroy because it goes down all the roots, so those would be permitted according to the Rivan.
But excuse me,
This
when
is
the
laying
root
the
is
groundwork
destroyed-
as how we're going to get to our halacha.
But when the root is destroyed, is somebody shaving with a blade? It still grows back.
Yeah, but
Not
it's
really destroying it. The follicle's still there.
but that's the geder. Follicle member is underneath the dermis. It's in the dermis, so that's below the skin.
No, I understand, but it still grows back.
It-
Not
yes.
really destroying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
So you have to have both.
both destruction. We're going to see what the definition is. The definition will be when you, if you can't feel any hair. See, when we shave, you can still feel hair. Look, or even after you take a shaver with electric razor, we're going to see there's still some stubble. Where some people take, if you talk to a person who shaves with a blade, it's completely smooth.
Well, that was the question between using a Braun machine or using a Philips,
Well,
or something,
okay.
because the Braun is the foil is very thin. It does go.
So, by the way, there are
It's
some
thin,
electrics that they're going to ask because it's too cut, it's too
Yeah.
tight.
Braun is one of them.
There are those that are kosher, and then those that are not. We'll see what's all about.
The
Now,
what? Braun?
Let's
Bronze
first
is bronze difficult to
Braun
use.
is
Lucky
very
won't
close.
let you
Shapes
use.
very
let's first get to the issue
No rail coat. it does.
step by step. Shaving with scissors in a manner similar to a blade. The poskim discussed whether one may shave with the scissors in a manner similar to a blade, such as where one uses scissors to trim one's beard, such that the scissors cut very close to the skin, with the result being very similar to one if one had used a razor. The Rambam states that one is exempt for shaving with scissors, from which the Sefer HaChinuch infers that it is still forbidden midrabanan, so you're not chayiv midaraisa, but the Chinuch learns in the Rambam that if you use a scissor, it would be chayiv midrabanan. Let's see the Rambam.
What
Enoch,
did they shave in the beginning of time?
say again.
What did they shave in the beginning of time?
Used a flint, right? Sharpened stone, and then eventually iron, and then eventually steel, as metal or bronze, and as the same thing with swords. As the technology to make swords improved, so the technology for razors improved.
Who was the first clean shaven person?
So again, the Rambam is basically quoting the Gemara. So potter usually means potter of a losser. Means lechora, it's going to be a rabbinic isser. Because of our Rambam, Zichron Levracha, says the Chinuch, Vim golach b'Mitzrayim potter, nira midvar, the davka potter, who aval osir lasses came. The efsher she'ayim b'galech b'Mitzrayim ke'ein tar. Perhaps he's saying like this, that where he cuts with scissors, slip into razor. The way I'm learning pshat is we have a scissor has two blades, so he might be using the upper part of the blade or even the lower part, one side of the blade, to try to shave himself in a way like a blade. So according to Sefer Chinuch, the rabbinic injunction against shaving with the scissors may apply only where one uses the scissors as a blade, similar to a razor, by shaving very close to the skin. The Chacham Tzvi and Tzemach Tzedek, these are later, you're talking about 1800, among others, also took the Rambam in this manner. Over the Kesef Mishnah and earlier, the first Achron, basically, Rav Yosef Karo, understands the Rambam to hold that even the Chatchila, one may shave with the scissors. So he's more lenient. He didn't learn like the Chinuch did, that it's potter of a losser. He said, no, really, you're permitted to use scissors. And the reason he used the word exam, potter, is because he was simply quoting the language of the Mishnah, which said potter, but not to imply that it's potter of a losser. Let's see the Kesef Mishnah. We call Makom, right? Let's just remember, the Beis Yosef, Rav Yosef Karo, wrote the following two preliminary perushim on halachic codes that basically led to the Shulchan Aruch. One was the Beis Yosef on the Tur, and the other is the Kesef Mishnah on the Rambam. So basically, the Rav Yosef Karo worked on the two major halachic sources we have, the Tur and the Rambam, and it just is always important to remember that. So Mikol Makom Ekel Medik, B'Masha Kosav, that which the Rambam wrote, Im Golach Zakon B'Misparayim Potter, that if you shaved using scissors, you're going to be Potter, the Mashma Isura Ika, which normally we are Medayik, normally we deduce from something that says Potter, it's Aval Osir, implying it's not Mutter L'Chatchila. The Mashma Isura Ika, the Mashma Isura Ika, the Mutter Meboile, Dumidar Kovas Arosh, right? But Venira Lomar, the Sircha Delisha the Masnisa Nokat. Don't be medayik that way, that potter means osir. He just used the word potter because the Mishnah used that language. V'lav and lechatchila nami shori. Kesef Mishnah says very clearly that he holds that using scissors as a blade would be permitted. Other Rishonim, including the Rivan and Tosfos and Shavuos, the Rivan and Makos, also agree that it is permitted to use scissors to shave one's beard. Therefore, when Rav Yosef Karo finally codified the halacha in the Shulchan Aruch in Yoreh De'ah 181, he followed this approach, which is the interpretation of the Rambam that he presented in the Kesef Mishnah. It's just really nice to see how the halacha flowed here. Eino chayav al hashchosas pesach zaken el betar, avim misraim mutter afilu ke'ein tar, even if you use it in the derech of a blade. Then there's a nice little biography of Yosef Karo. So, in contrast to the Shulchan Aruch, however, the Ritva concludes that although it is permitted according to the strict halacha to shave with scissors in a manner similar to a blade like the Shulchan Aruch brought down, one should be stringent as an act of piety due to the concern of maris ayin, and people will think maybe you used a blade. V'chein hilchasa.
Because he gets such a close shave, they won't see him doing it.
Why? Because remember, if you have to open up the scissors and you see him doing with a blade,
Well,
or you're saying because the outcome ends up so close that they. Let's see what he says.
No, what
He says,
is you should grow a beard. This is the minhag. Everybody.
No. The Ritva is telling us, even though Shulchan Aruch paskin meikra din that you could use the scissors, the Ritva is now saying it's mishur sadin you should not use the scissors. Didn't say you have to grow a beard. We're going to get there. We'll get there too, but that's not what the Ritva is saying here. The Ritva does not like the leniency that the Rav Yosef Karo gave us, who seemed to say that using scissors is permitted. He says, "V'chein hilchasa." However, mishur sadin. Kol shu b'misraim afilu ke'ein tar mutter. Right? Really, meikra din. It's not lifnei mishur sadin. Mishura sadin. Shura means like a line. From the ikar din, you can use misparim, afilu ketar. Aval midas chasidim shalol asken. Mishum chshad haroyim. Chshad haroyim seems to suggest that people are seeing what he's doing. I guess if he opens up the scissors and uses it as a blade like that, people will think that it's a blade. V'chein roy lasos. Right? It doesn't say. No, Bernie has a good point. Maybe because when it says royim, it's royim that they see that he's got a very smooth beard. So they wonder how he did it.
People would usually do this at home. They're not going to do it in the Carmelis in the middle of the street.
So that's more like what Bernie said, that you can identify it afterwards. Okay. V'chein roy lasos. So he praises those who doesn't use the scissors that way. But by contrast, the Chassam Sofer prohibits using scissors as a blade and opines that it's midaraisa. The most other posts can disagree with the Chassam Sofer, that one would not get makas for it. Let's see the Shut Chatam Sofer. Ordinarily, Masha'anu Toisim lesser misparayim ke'ein tar b'pes harosh. Lav mitam ha-toises sha'arosh. As Ninin Allah Desfil Chalik ben Rosh Lazakin, that they made a chiluk. Remember, we learned last time that hashchasa is by the payas up here. We said made no difference whether you had scissors or hashchasa, but by the beard it was only hashchasa. So that's how Tosas and Rosh over there learned why you could be lenient by misparayim by scissors, because it doesn't create hashchasa. Elamitam Gillian Tois v'shevi b'toises harid no. B'trumas Hadesh and Huva Besa Yosef. He brings the Beis Yosef to severely lesser Gam Bezakim Espraim Kaintar, who prohibits to use it if you're going to use it as a blade. So some parts can hold that it's prohibited to use any scissors to shave, even when not used like a blade. That means you're using like this. You're trimming, not like a blade. It's like you're cutting. Due to the prohibition of Lo Yilbash Gever, a man not wearing the clothes of a woman, I guess because he's tidying himself up. He's grooming too much. It's like putting cosmetics on or something like that.
Even if you don't
But-
shave the whole sphere on, sometimes you need a scissor first to cut it.
Yes,
because
yes. So some will not, but most poskim, including the Sridei Eish, Yechiel Yaakov Weinberg, the great Gadol, who passed away in 1966. Mark Shapiro has a wonderful biography of the Sridei Eish. He had a PhD in philosophy, besides being a god. He was close to Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky, and a lot of he paskined a lot of very interesting modern day psak. The psak of a bas mitzvah that he felt from a psychological standpoint you should celebrate a bas mitzvah. That's a famous one of Sridei Eish. He talked about like the movements, Bnei Akiva and Ezra, where they did some activities together, boys and girls. He gave svaras to it, etc. So Rav Yechiel Weinberg, the Sridei Eish, is really quoted by all modern day poskim. So he lived in Switzerland after the war, right? But he was buried in Eretz Yisrael. So most poskim, including the Sridei Eish, argue that this,
He was the yeshiva metro?
There was a yeshiva mikveh, but
he
no,
was like a
not-
private individual, people
not
wrote
private,
chuvas,
yes.
they sent them shilas, and everything like that. Argue that this prohibition applies only with regard to matters that are potentially relevant to both men and women. Like, that means, let's say men and women do a certain kind of grooming together, and we're going to learn the halachos of lo yubash gever, but this doesn't apply because women don't shave. Not the case with regards to beards and shaving. Let's see the three to age. The Chaim Tzarchani Lahayir, Shedas Agon HaKodesh Bal Tzemach Tzedek, remember who we quoted, who assered, She'asur Li'ish G'nistaper Sars Kono, who prohibited shaving your beard even with misparayim, Shaloke Eintar, even if you used the scissors without, not doing it like a braid, because of the time of Lo Yubash Gever, the Im Ki Eni Roy Lachlok Al Agon HaKodesh Bal Tzemach Tzedek, he says, even though I'm not worthy to argue with the Gon Kodesh Bal Tzemach Tzedek, Komakom, Rotza Ani L'Lam Eschus, Ala Mekilim B'zeh. He wants to tell the people who do shave with scissors that they're okay. Shegiluch hazakim mizparim ke'ein tar, eino dema legiluch beis hashechi. He says it's different that, for example, if you use scissors to trim your armpits. So women do that. So there he's going to say, since it's something that women do as well, and if you do it, it's going to be, you're going to violate the lo yubash gever if you use scissors to do that. Eino legiluch beis hashechi. Shezeu kishut hanoshim. Shenohagos lasos came. The chol kishut noshim asur. So any type of grooming that women do. So think about it. They pluck their eyebrows. It's probably
forbidden for
something
man.
that men would not be able to do because it's something that women do. So any kind of processing that they do for grooming, for example, women shave their legs. Men would not be allowed to shave their legs because that's a grooming technique that women now. Now let's say there's a purpose. Let's say you were doing something.
Viking,
Or no.
the Viking
Let's
shave
say you needed surgery on your leg. No, I'm sure there's heterim why you'd be able to do it. But stamazoi because you want to.
No, it's gonna grow back. I mean, that's the one I'm worried
The
about.
Isser of Lari Silbash, what about,
Yes.
is on what?
No,
On the
so
cutting or on not having a
Tzemach
beard?
Tzedek said so. The act of using misparayim on your beard.
That's a Lari Silbash.
Yes.
What about actually not having a beard?
No.
Is there an Isser not having a beard?
No.
Does everyone have to have a beard or not?
So far we haven't seen
We
that.
didn't
So
see
far
that.
we have Bale, the Shulchan Aruch himself said you're allowed to use scissors to trim your beard, to cut your beard. That's how it came. Remember the Ritva said it's a stringency.
I'm trying to figure out why Chaim Kanievsky tells everyone, where's your beard?
Okay,
Where's
so
your beard?
right now we're not there yet.
We-
Well, right now that's not the normative
That was
halacha.
Lari Silbash maybe.
So
They cut off your beard, that's
okay,
Lari Silbash.
so according to the Tzemach Tzedek, you certainly can't use a razor.
Right.
But so if the most lenient is to use scissors, they hold, the Tzemach Tzedek said you can't use it because of lo yubash gever. So according to that shita,
That's the-
having a beard is because of lo yubash gever. But the Srei Eish says he doesn't agree because women don't shave their beard. And lo yubash gever is only going to apply to something that they do. So for example, if we cut our armpit, that would be a lo yubash gever.
I don't think the women did their armpits in those days. I don't think
Well,
the
but they
women-
do it today.
They do
Today they
it.
do it, but
So
who
we-
wrote this?
Okay, so what was that?
No, who wrote this, the Shalom Shoes here? Which one?
No, the Srei Eish,
Yiddish.
1966.
Not in Israel.
What about the
No, but he lived in Switzerland.
Maybe it's
European.
cream they use?
Hang on! Very good, Mario. Mario asked about the depilatory. Hang on, we're gonna get there.
Appellation.
Shezeu kishut hanoshim shragos lazos kevchol kishut noshim osu mashe en kain kilo chazaken eni kishut noshim shein lem zokein. The bottom line is that most poskim, including the Shulchan Aruch, permit using a scissors used as a blade to shave one's beard.
If they use that cream.
While a minority of poskim, such as the Chassam Sofer and Tzemach Tzedek, are more stringent. So, our electric shavers are designed to work as scissors. So we use this heter. That means we don't sit here, we don't trim our beard with scissors every morning. We use an electric razor. So we're going to see that since the poskim say you can use scissors, a razor that's constructed in a type of scissors where it's not a direct blade, it's like two pieces come together and cut it like a scissor. Like a scissor, so we'll see the discussion about it. That's why we have a heter to use the electric razor, because it's like scissors. Now, the Trumas Hadeshen was concerned about using scissors on your beard for another reason, namely, that perhaps one may use the bottom blade alone to cut the hair, without the opposite force of the top blade. So that's, when we were learning, we thought to think that maybe when it says ke'ein tar, it meant using one side of the blade. It looks like no, we can't. That they were just talking about like a razor, where it means you get a pretty close shave with scissors if you cut it close. But not necessarily, because now he says she'ela yesh nidnud isur legalech pesach sheker misprayim lo. They said, is there any kind of isur to cut your beard with scissors? So yirid yesh mokum lahachmer ela she'ena olam nizorim bedover. Kosav begilyon betoisus bereish masech l'shuas yesh nizhorim kimisparayim b'misparayim she'en oisim betachton klum ela be'elyon. There are those that are careful not to use it if you're only going to use one side of the blade. For example, they use the bottom, or they only use the top and not the bottom. Ki chosheshin shim yasu kulam betachton. If he does everything with the lower one, shemayera shelo yechtach zuga elyon, he won't be using the upper blade together. Ela betachton v'hu kamotar ad kan lashono. So it seems by using only one side of the blade, using that as a beard, using that like a razor, that would be prohibited. V'nei kasha me'od lios nizer b'davar zeh. Amnam nira the nachum nizar shlo yisaper pazazokim is parayim shu chadud mod. You shouldn't use very, very sharp scissors. The lekal mecha sheyichto chatachton v'lo elyon elor chadud mod. That means to use only one side of it's only going to work is if it's very, very, if it's very, very sharp. And that's how the Ramah rules. Mikol makom nizarim k'shemistapim is parayim. If someone is taking a shave using scissors, sheyase hekef hagiloch b'chelek ha'elyon min ha'mispares. You should shave with the top of the blade of the scissors. V'lo betachton, not the bottom. Pen yaseh hakol im chelek hatachton ve'avi ketar. Because you're going to do everything without sort of cutting it, without using the scissors action.
What is tachton, what is zillion?
Is it bottom
Yeah,
up?
you have a scissor, have two blades.
Over, so
Yeah, but one is, they're not exactly the same.
No.
One is
only
sharper.
one side
One is
sharp.
sharper, sort of one presents it and the other sort of cuts it. That's the bottom one. Another question discussed by the poskim is whether it is permitted to use a depilatory ointment to remove the hairs of one's beard. With regard to this issue, most are lenient, with the exception of the Tzemach Tzedek, quoted above, who was because of the Yolo Yilbash, like Sidney said. And those are stringent for Kabbalistic reasons. So, says the Shiurei Bracha, Noagu ba'ari Edom, in the cities of Edom, Rabbi Meir Hashem laniach sam, a certain poison or elixir, ki isa raka, like a dough, al zakano, the noisher kol asar, and then the hair comes off.
Like hair waxing.
The yira demuter gomerhu, udelo command de asr, not like the one who asr, i.e. the tzemach tzedek. V'chein katasti b'aniusi, sham biarti, the tfei odif lazes azakim b'samanis. He says it's better to use this. Malasus b'sparim keitar, to use scissors like a razor, ayin sham. However, one should be careful not to remove the cream using a sharp metal implement so as to avoid the problem of shaving with a razor-like device.
I mean, women might be doing it. Even on their hair, they might have some
There were
hair
many
on their
men,
faces.
many
and
men
they're
in
doing
America
it.
in the 30s and 40s.
In the
They didn't have
60s.
electric razors. They used this or a
In
powder.
yeshiva, this is what everybody was using.
Yeah, that's
Powder stuff. You know, it's like
But
paste.
they use powder and mix it with water or something?
It was either a cream or some kind of powder, like an astringent powder. So the l'shichno tidrushu also legalech hapeos afilu al yedei sam. So the payas you can't take with that. Aval zakana muter legalech al yedei sam. Ulevad sheyizar shelo legaris asar b'sakin, but don't. So to remove that cream with a blade or b'dover chad with something sharp. Ela b'kisim eitz, use something wood. Ukiyotz, as long as it's not too sharp. Okay, now what parts of the beard? What are the locations of the payot of the beard? The Mishnah states that there are 5 locations on one face. Alazakin shtay mikan ushtay mikan va'achas milamata. Right? 2 and 1 below, which is the chin.
What's the 2 and the 2 show again?
Well, it's here, here, and here.
Okay.
Well, let's see what the Shulchan Aruch says. Pez hazakinim hey. V'ravu v'hem adeos. There's many opinions as to where they are. Lifachach yirei shamayim yotzes kulam of lo yavar al kol zakon klal. See what the Shulchan Aruch says? You may not touch a razor on any part of your face because of the machlos. Some say it's here, some say it's here, some say it's here, some say it's here. Don't put it
Someone
in.
goes to a barber and the barber wants to use a blade on the back of their neck or underneath over here.
Well, here is going to be a problem. The back of your neck is not your
Here,
socket.
what, under
Yeah.
the chin?
Yes. That's
That's one of the,
but they can use the the electric, as long as it doesn't cut too
I
close.
understand, but
You
even,
wanna use the blade.
the beard is even considered under, the area under
Yeah.
the jaw?
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, not the neck.
Afilu tachas hagoren, says the Ramo, even underneath his throat. According to the Shulchan Aruch, it is permitted to shave with a razor on the mustache, but the prevalent custom is not to use a razor blade except for places that the hair of the mustache interferes with one's eating. So I guess technically, if the hair of the mustache interfered with your eating, you could use a blade, as the Rambam states in the next source. Hasafa, the mustache, mutar legalcho betar, says the Rambam. Vu aser sha'al gav hasafa, the hair on top of your lip. Al yona, v'chein aser medul dal min hasafa tachtona. V'avu bishu mutar lo nohagu yisrael lashchiso el yigalech tzoso. We have not to use a blade. Actually, yakiv achilu shasiya. Rather, to shave it a little just so as not to hinder eating and drinking. Nevertheless, if one uses a razor or blade to remove hair of the mustache that interferes with eating, one must be careful not to shave near the edge of the lip, as according to Rabbi Hananel, this is part of the peyot of the beard. In general, we're knowing not to use blades anywhere on
So
our face.
basically, what they're really saying is, don't shave to make yourself look more attractive.
No, shave.
No, but I'm
It
saying
didn't say
don't
that.
use certain blade. Don't cut too short, too small, too much of the skin in order to give you a smooth.
So
face.
far, the only thing we learned is you may not use a straight razor on your face to shave your beard.
Why?
But
Why?
Because it says in the Torah, hashchas, don't be mash giluach and hashchasa. The Gemara said betar, which is a razor. That's it. That's it. The Pusukim and the way Torah Shabbal Peh explained what that meant.
When I use the electric, it's smooth as a baby. Seems deeper meaning. What's the problem?
I mean, he wants Tama mitzvah.
Yeah, he's asking, what's what?
I would think because it makes it you look more attractive by using a razor to shave
So-
all your entire beard.
so-
what's the problem?
So the Jews who don't shave their beard at all, we saw two reasons for it. The din of lo yilbash gever simlasi, so that goes a little bit along with what you're saying. We shouldn't do something that women do, but we saw the Srei Eish disagrees with that completely. And then there were Kabbalistic reasons. We know, for example, there are certain Chassidic shchitas only want the shoichet if they have a beard. So that's not Meikar Adin. Nowhere does it say in Yoredeya that the person who does the shchita has to have a beard. But there's certain hashgachas, Satmar shchita, for example, will require that the shoichet has a beard. But it's for Kabbalistic reasons. Like they brought, they said there's Kabbalistic reasons. So there must be Kabbalistic reasons as well why you should have the beard. Okay, let's get to electric shavers, page 200.
That's why everyone has beards now.
Oh yeah, Walter's at the OU dinner, some other people texted me, that's why they're not here. There's no OU dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm really apologizing, could you put this on?
Narrow.
Can you put this on?